How do you measure? We use tools every day in the work that we perform. We use measuring tapes for linear feet and inches, protractors to determine angles. We use multimeters for current, amps, and resistance, gauges for pressures, and scales to determine weights. But how do we measure our goals? If you don't know where you are going, you will probably end up somewhere else. Profound words, but case in point. I have 2 ships leaving Boston Harbor en route to Bermuda. The first ship is manned by Captain No Plan. Second ship is manned by Captain Metrics. You have a choice of which ship you're going to sail with. Captain No Plan leaves Boston and travels all around until he happens to stumble across Bermuda. But more than likely, he and his crews would have died of starvation long before finding the island. Captain Metrics, on the other hand, has charts, measurement tools, and a compass to plot his journey, which leaves Boston and travels straight to Bermuda. But had Captain Metrics incurred some type of problem that blew him off course, his tools would soon get him back on track to his final destination. What's in your toolbox to plot your goals, and what tools do you have to get your business back on course if some business condition or business climate takes you off that course? What gets measured gets done, what gets measured and fed back gets done well, and what gets rewarded gets repeated. I've had literally hundreds of conversations about measurements with heating and air conditioning contractors over the years. Some do a great job, but most don't measure until their final numbers come in for the year. And then they only look to see if they did better or worse than prior year. At one of our air purchases sales trainings, I asked about 25 retail sales professionals if they had some way to track their sales against their goal. First, I was amazed to discover how many did not have a formal goal for sales. Second, the salespeople that had goals had no way of tracking. I was determined to help these people. So during our 2009 retail sales professional meeting, RSPs told us that they'd like a tool that allowed them to track sales against a goal. My team and I immediately went into play. Within 60 days, Air Purchases had put together a goals and budget worksheet to measure an RSP's sales performance. We also added an executive summary that charts performance month by month for sales managers and owners. We have upgraded this tool 6 times since then, with feedback provided to us by our dealers. I'm excited to share with you our 2011 Goals and Budget Tool, version 7. When you open the Air Purchases Goals and Budget worksheet, you'll see the Input section first. This is where you'll enter the salesperson's goals and metrics. You'll also see a weekly input screen for their actual sits, closed jobs, and sales. January, February, March, and so forth. You enter the data in yellow highlighted cells only. So we'll start off with the salesperson's name, then their yearly goal. Keep in mind that goals must be SMART. That's S-M-A-R-T. They need to be specific, they need to be measurable, they need to be attainable, realistic, and within a certain time frame. And that's what this tool allows you to measure. So let's give me a $750,000 budget. We'll say that my average ticket is $5,000 with a close ratio of 20%. Now, take a look at this. Let me just back up for a second. When I type in 750,000, I want you to look down here at my budgeted sales and my sales goals. See, that fills in 37,500, and then it breaks it down per week by each month. Now what this does is this takes about $750,000 and it looks at a balance of sale that we'll talk about in a little bit. But it's saying that 5% of my sales come in January. So it's taking 5% of 750,000 and coming up with 37,500, then breaking it down by the week. And then it shows how many selling days there are that week. There's 1 in week 1, there's 5 in week 2, and so forth. So the next is my average ticket. My average ticket is 5,000. And you'll see with my average ticket, that determines how many leads I need to run in order to get to my 20% close ratio and X amount of jobs. Next, what we do is we type in our selling days a month. Now there's 21 to 22 business days a month, and I would say that you would want a salesperson selling no less than 20 of them. So there you type in 20, and then sits per day. 3 sits per day are an average of 1.5 to 2 hours per sales call. Gives your salesperson time to build rapport, design a system that matches the consumer's needs and wallet, and present options and price. These metrics will determine if the sales goal of $750,000 is realistic. We can do this by clicking on the budget sheet here. This is our budget sheet. This is where the input from the previous screen carries over. So the RSP name, the yearly goal of $750,000, 20 selling days a month, 3 sits a day, 20% close ratio, 5,000 average ticket. Remember when I said our average balance of sale was 5% for January? I have 5% for January, 5% for February, 5% March, 8 April, 9 May, and 11% June. Now this is compiled from a lot of data. However, if this isn't what your business reflects, what you need to do is come up here to where it says click to figure balance of sale. We click on that, and then you type in your sales for the month. So let's say January is 12,000. We'll say February is 20,000. And through the magic of computer, I will input the rest. So let's say all these numbers were inputted over the previous year's sales. This tells you what your balance of sale is each month. Okay? So we go back to our budget. I also added this chart here for you too, though, just so you can see which quarters give you a percentage of your sales. So we go back to the budget tool. We click on this box where it says custom balance of sale, and you'll see that this row disappears, and then the information that we just inputted reappears. So 1.9% comes in January, 3.2 in March, 3.2 in February, 3.7 in March, and so forth. But for this demonstration, we're going to go back with the balance of sale that I had. So you can see here that our sales budget for January is $37,500. Same thing in February, same thing in March. April goes up to 8%, so it's $60,000, 9%, 67, and so on. Obviously, the peak months here, June, July, and August, they carry the high. So anyway, we've inputted it, the information on the front screen. Our goal is $750,000, close ratio of 20%, average ticket of $5,000. So we can sit 3 leads a day, 20 selling days a month. So that gives us 60 sits available to us per month. So what this allows us to do is to see where our capacity is. So in January, based on my criteria, in order for me to hit 37,500, I have to sit 38 calls. I can sit 60, not a problem. But up here in May, I need to sit 68, and I can only sit 60. Maybe I work a little harder that month and I push it out, but as you can see, June, that turns into 83. I can only sit 60. July, I need to hit 98 sits. I can only sit 60. August, 83, 60. So based on the metrics that I inputted, 20 selling days a month, 3 sits a day, 20% close ratio, and 5,000 average ticket, I am going to have a problem 5 months out of 12. I don't have enough capacity to sit these many leads. So I need to work with the salesperson and change some criteria. We can do that. We go back to the monthly tool. You can fix this two ways. You can increase his average ticket. So let me just show you. If we increased it to 7,000 and we go back to the budget sheet, you can see that I have enough capacity now to handle everything except for July. But just arbitrarily saying that we're going to increase the average ticket from 5,000 to 7 is a little far stretched. I mean, we need to work with the salespeople. We need to show them all the tools that are available to them to be able to upsell and to offer these add-on accessories to get that ticket from 5,000 to 7,000. The other way we can do it is, let's go back to 5,000, is maybe we just increase this to 6,000, but we also work with their close ratio. Maybe we follow up on jobs. We make sure that we're asking for the order. If they haven't made a decision, when they're going to make a decision, we follow up. We leave no stone unturned, and we keep following up with that consumer until they've made a decision, either to go with somebody else, go with us, or maybe not install altogether. Okay? But if we can increase our closing ratio to, say, 30%, which is average for our industry, and we go back to the budget sheet, you can see that this takes care of the problem too. So increasing the average ticket slightly, increasing the close ratio slightly, allows us to gain capacity on sits. Increasing the average ticket, the add-on sales from 5,000 to 7,500 does it as well. But this is more of a smaller bite approach that we can work with a salesperson on. And Air Purchases has many tools that we can give to your RSP or to yourself to help you engage that consumer at the kitchen table.